Hello, my name is Kate Bosch, and this is my response to the video discussion post. I really enjoyed reading both of these chapters in the books just because, I am a teacher. I'm actually a special education teacher, and this is my classroom. And there is such a push these days, especially with everything going on in our world, to incorporate more technologies. We have a lot of programs that we use, especially the general education teachers, but it's still such a struggle to look at all the standards and balance them with technologies. So I loved what Rob Bleier and Hughes said in their book about the problems of practice, which is the triangle of the learning theories, and then curriculum and content and pedagogy, and tying that into the technology possibilities, which is technology expertise, technology support, and technology tools, because it's such a cool way to think of, okay, what are my standards that I need to present, and how can I present them effectively to students that are different learners? Kinesthetic, which is, that hands-on, it is most of the learners that I work with, but then there's also visual and auditory. And so how can we use technology to reach all of those learners individually while also meeting the standards? And I thought that setup, that diagram, was a really cool explanation of how to combine that. And I think a teacher can be effective in that way if they just look at how their readers or their students are learning, or creating a program or a technology that uses all of those things. So like, we have a lot of computer programs here where students can have it read aloud to them so that they're not so worried about looking at the words. We have some with pictures, we have some that are interactive and they have to play with them. So it's a lot of hands-on, it's a lot of visual, it's a lot of auditory, and it hits all the standards. The other tools that we have at our disposal, and I was going to show you here, is I have a smart board. It's an old version of a smart board, but with this board, I'm able to have my students come up during a lesson and use an interactive pin to work on, let's say we're working on vowels, they can click on the vowel instead of the consonant, that sort of thing. I also have several iPads that the students can use to read off of. I have programs myself, an iReady program that the students can use that helps with their reading and their math, and it meets them where they are at. So, for example, in Jonathan's book, in the chapter, he explains, that there's a plan and a way to achieve the goal through a plan recognition model. And that's where it's a computer program that kind of sees where they're at, plans in advance, and then helps them reach their goal. And that's what iReady does, is the kids take a test or a diagnostic assessment, and then based on that diagnostic assessment, it plans lessons catered to their abilities. So that allows each student to all be working on a computer at the same time, but it is at their level, at their pace, and it sort of helps bridge that gap. Particularly for my students with special needs, it helps them a lot because they can feel involved in the classroom, but they're still working on their level, which is nice. And that is Jonathan 2007, and the previous reference I made was Rob Bleier and Hughes 2019. But the best practices that I incorporate, like I said, is the smart board and my iPads. And I use another program called Screencastify, where I can go online and I can read or make a video of myself reading something online, let's say a test, and I can connect that link and link it to, let's say, Google Classroom, or Schoology is a big thing we're using right now. In order for them to click on the link, they can put their headphones in and listen to me read the story to them, and then they can answer the questions on their own. So it's just a lot of really cool technologies to help students, especially those who are having a hard time reading, without me having to be in there all the time, without them having a teacher around them all the time. It just sort of creates that independence. So I truly love where technology is going. It is frustrating at times, but I think that it's helped students become a lot more independent. And honestly, they know more about technology than we do. But those are some of the things that I use in my classroom. Thank you.